Welcome back, everyone. We have an update from Opawica Explorations Inc. Trades on the OTCQB under the symbol OPWEF and on the TSXV under the symbol OPW. It's a junior Canadian exploration company with a strong portfolio of precious and base metal properties within the Rouyn-Noranda region of the Abitibi Gold Belt in Quebec. Happy to welcome back President and CEO Blake Morgan. Nice to see you, Blake.
It's nice to see you too. Thanks for having me on again.
All right, give us a little overview of Opawica, and then we'll jump into some questions with the update.
Yeah, perfect. So last time I was on, I basically did a bit of a recap on the company. So I took over Opawica back in 2020, and we basically got straight to work. Now, we've spent over $6 million on our two flagship properties, the Bazooka and the Arrowhead properties. These are in the Abitibi Greenstone Belt. So both these properties have power, road, and water to all the assets. They're only 10 minutes out of the town of Rouyn-Noranda, so it's very easy for people to get to work every day, go home, and the reason that's important is obviously that keeps our drilling costs very, very low. And that's the exciting part we're up to now. You know, we're currently drilling. The area that we're in is very exciting. We're obviously surrounded by major mines. We've got Agnico Eagle that surrounds both of our flagship properties, which has a couple of million ounces. We're right next door to the LaRonde mine, which is Agnico Eagle's premier mine. And we're right next to IAMGOLD's Westwood mine. So now.
Okay. All right. Plus, Blake, you recently raised $2.5 million in December last year. So how are those funds being used, and what are your plans moving forward?
Yeah, so we were lucky enough to put some good dollars away, and we closed around $2.5 million in December last year. And basically that is all going towards drilling. Like I mentioned, we've spent over $6 million on these projects, and now is the time to get as much drilling as we can on our two flagship properties. So we're currently right now on the Bazooka property, and we're drilling that right now. We've got over 20,000 meters of targets. So we've got 10,000 meters on the Bazooka, and then we've got 10,000 meters of targets on the Arrowhead. So we're initially kicking off with around 4,000 or 5,000 meters to start with on the Bazooka. We'll get the assays back from that, and then we'll either continue on the full 10,000 meters, or we'll move across to our other flagship, the Arrowhead property. So the plan this year is to hopefully drill 20,000 meters, and we've definitely got the funding so far to at least knock off, 5,000, 6,000 meters of that, which is fantastic.
It sure is. Talk a little bit more about Bazooka. You're in the process of drilling. So how is it going? There's been a lot of press releases about that recently.
Yeah, so it's absolutely going fantastic. So last Tuesday, we just put out news and we hit 42 meters of mineralization. And that we even got XRF scans ranging from 8 grams a ton all the way up to 190 grams per ton. So, that's pretty fantastic getting a 42 meter intercept. Then of this month, we just put out 76 meters of mineralization, and this one even had visible gold. So, it's getting even more exciting. And then on the Thursday, which is today, we put out 60 meters of mineralization, and that ranged from 60 grams per ton up to 220 grams per ton. So these are XRF scans. So basically, when we're getting these thick intercepts, we're taking XRF scanning points across the mineralization, and these are the outstanding readings that we're getting. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean when we get the assays back, we're going to have these ridiculously high numbers. But what it does show is these whole intercepts that we're getting of 40 meters, 70 meters, 60 meters hold gold. And our last drill program that we did was quite successful, but we were only getting, 1 to 3 meter intercepts. Now we're getting 40 all the way up to 90 meter intercepts. So it's going extremely well so far. We've got some more news coming out in regards to drilling soon. So the good news doesn't end here. And then hopefully we'll have assays coming out, I would say sometime around the end of the month. So hopefully some really good updates in regards to drilling. And then at the end of the month, hopefully some really good assays come out to our shareholders.
Wonderful. And last interview, you mentioned you have over 20,000 meters of high priority drill targets. So what are the plans for those moving forward, and are you starting them soon?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, we've got 10,000 meters on the Bazooka and 10,000 meters on the Arrowhead. So we're nearly halfway through the 10,000 meters on the Bazooka now. But because we're getting some really, really good, nice hits, we're going to pause at 5,000 meters. We'll get the assays to come back. We'll have a look at them, and then we'll decide which path we're going to take. Are we going to keep stepping out on the Bazooka, or are we going to go and start the program on the Arrowhead? We will, as the year progresses, have to go back out to the market to get a bit more funding. $2.4 million only takes you so far. But, we have a great shareholder base. We have some fantastic institutions involved. So we don't see too much difficulties raising that capital. And once we do so, hopefully we can drill the full 20,000 meters this year and have news coming out for months to come.
Hopefully. Last question for you, Blake. Talk a little bit about those shareholders you mentioned, including share structure, and how many shares do you personally own?
Yeah, so I'm actually the #1 shareholder in the company. I own over 10% of the company. So in the last few years alone, I've purchased nearly $1 million worth of open market buying. So all SEDI filed. You can go on, you can check that out. And, I think it's very important to have a CEO and a management team with a large amount of shares. We're not here for a wage. We're here to find a mine. And you can see that by the amount of shares that I buy personally. On top of that, we have some fantastic institutions. So we had Eric Sprott a couple of years ago. He put in $2 million himself. And then we have some of the heavyweights over at Canaccord, Haywoods, and Lee Jones Gable. So great institutions. We even have Red Cloud on board. So fantastic institutional money. Some of the biggest, mining giants in the world, like Eric Sprott. And then obviously myself being the #1 shareholder. So yeah, it's a great structure. And then on top of that, we only have 37 million shares out. So we don't have hundreds of millions like other companies. We are very tight. Institutions probably hold 50, 60%. I personally hold over 10%. So, we only have probably 20 to 30% of that in our float. So, there's a lot of room for growth if the drilling keeps going well.
Wonderful. Well, it's a good position to be in. We appreciate you coming back on the Emerging Growth with this exciting update. Thank you so much, Blake.
Thank you for having me on. I look forward to talking again soon. Thank you.
All right. Us as well. All right, everyone, stay with us. We'll be right back.